Hey, what's going on, guys? Dave here. So, in this video, I'm actually going to do something a little different because usually I have a portfolio video once a month where I review my investment into Nvidia and Bitcoin. But in this video, I'm actually going to track and show you on a couple different graphs and charts what Nvidia's monthly returns have been since July of 2023, 16 months ago. And I'm also going to show you my contributions that I've made over the past 16 months because even though I started this channel in March, I have been investing into Nvidia since July of 2023. I didn't start investing into Bitcoin until March of this year, 2024. So it's a bigger part of my portfolio, and I kind of want to break a few things down, especially as we approach that November 20th earnings call. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And I just want to briefly bring this up, guys. If you could hit subscribe and like the video, I would really appreciate it. I know not many people view my content, especially since I'm a new content creator. I've been around only for 8 months, but I post monthly NVIDIA updates, Bitcoin updates, and also investment content. I would say more so with NVIDIA updates because there's more fluctuation, especially with the quarterly earnings calls and news that people are really into. But irregardless, guys, if you could subscribe, I would really appreciate it, even if it's just a handful of you. So thank you so much. So let's go ahead and look at this first graph. So these have been my monthly contributions into NVIDIA stock since July of 2023. Okay. So as you can see, my first month investing into NVIDIA was 16 months ago. I invested $2,300. I basically liquidated a majority of my American Century mutual fund that I had been investing into. After I had done more research into NVIDIA, I realized, hey, you know, I really believe in this product, and I really believe in Jensen Huang, and I kind of wanted to, you know, switch different pathways and invest into NVIDIA individually, and that's basically why there's such a high amount here. So as you can see here, over these months, I mean, I'm a school teacher and I live abroad. I'm an expatriate, so I don't have tons and tons of money. So you can see August of 2023, around $200. Same in September. And then in October of 2023, I liquidated the rest of my mutual fund and I put that directly into Nvidia. So that's what happened there. But then these other months, November, I kind of said, hey, I just put in several $100s a month before. I'll lay off the gas. And December 2023, it's the holidays. I don't have a ton of money. I'm buying a ton of gifts. So just $100 there. January and February were around 200. And then March, I want to list here, March was the first time that I invested into Bitcoin. So, just something for my viewers who have checked out my other videos. This was the first time I invested into Bitcoin, March of 2024. And as we progress along here, I kind of upped the ante, right after March because I created this channel and I said, hey, I want to stick to my investing goals. I want to put away as much money as I can, even if that means I only have $30 or $40 left in my bank account at excuse me, at the end of the month. I want to put as much money as I can to work for me, and just let it sit there. So you can see March was 300, April 260, May was 735. So bigger amounts because I want to stick to putting money away towards Nvidia stock because for the next several years it's going to be something that's going to grow exponentially. So this is just the chart here. September 2024 I put 800 in, and then October this month, the beginning of the month, I put $56 towards it because over 900 I put towards Bitcoin. I had a little spare cash in my checking account, after sending everything to my US account from overseas. And I said, hey, you know what? It's not even $100, but again, I don't want to just let that money sit in the account. I'll put it towards Nvidia shares and let it sit. So these are my monthly contributions, and we're actually going to come back to this in 2 slides from now. So I made a huge mistake here. NVIDIA monthly returns. Okay, first of all, let me erase all this. NVIDIA monthly returns since March. Well, that's not true. These are NVIDIA's monthly returns since July, right? Since July. So these are the returns over the past 16 months. And you can kind of see the different dips that occurred. And, when it went up past 10%, 14%, all the way up to its highest, which is 28.9%. And I created a little legend here. You can see out of the 4 months that NVIDIA has an earnings call, the earnings, you can see only one time over here in August did it not even go up 5%, right? November of 2023, it went up 14%. February went up 27.4%. May, 28.9%. And then August, 2 months ago, the earnings call, the information that Jensen Huang and NVIDIA gave us wasn't necessarily bad, but it wasn't, people were getting too greedy, I believe, and they didn't blow it out of the water necessarily like people thought they would. So even though that happened, it didn't even go below, it didn't go into the negatives. It was 1.6%. All right. Went up to 4 the next month. And then in October this month, it's gone up pretty high because of these different reports from Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, Bernstein Wealth Management that are saying the demand for Blackwell chips is substantial. It's not cooling off, and we're going to continue to see major growth over the next year to within the next few years. So these are the returns I've had. The return since March, again, that should be July, and I apologize. The return since July has been 133.04%. And out of these 16 months, there's only been 4 months where NVIDIA dipped below 0%. Only 4 months. Okay. The other 12 months has gained some sort of positive return. This is my last chart I want to go over here. This is kind of matching up the contributions I've made along with the returns that we've seen. Okay, the returns that NVIDIA has given us. So as you can see here, the yellow stars mark an earnings call. This should say 28.9%, by the way, but it somehow got left off the graph. Where all these stars are, these are when earnings calls took place. So it went from 14.4%, 24.9% to 28.9%. Okay. And you can even see in some of the months, this one in particular in July, right here, in July of this year, there was this huge, speculation that there was a lot of news going around that Nvidia was just a fad and that demand was going to substantially slow down because these hyperscalers were just doing it just because, investing in Nvidia just because it's the thing to do. And there was information like that. There was information about restrictions for China and how Nvidia wasn't going to be able to ship their chips to China. And then on top of that, there was all this negative news for the Japanese stock exchange, which is why we had a minus 5.2% return in July. And that happened within the first 5 days of the month. And once that happened, I said, hey, I'm going to put all the extra money I have. I was supposed to split it 50-50 between Nvidia and Bitcoin. And I said, you know what? I'm just putting it right towards Nvidia because this is a perfect time to buy. And as you can see, since July, it has only gone up, went up 1.6%, 4.7% in September, and then finally 15.3%. Nvidia went up to almost $144 per share this month. It's hovering around $142, but it's only gone up. So this has kind of given me a pretty good return here. But this is just a chart for you guys to see. These have been my contributions. And even in the down months, I still try to put in as much money as I can. And sometimes I even redirect my funds. I may go 50-50 with Nvidia and Bitcoin, but when there's a month like July of 2024, okay, or a month like April of 2024, October 2023, and there's a dip, I'm going to put more money towards it because I believe Nvidia, when it discounts like that and it drops several percentage points, it is a very good buying opportunity. So this is my graph for NVIDIA returns and monthly contributions. And I want to end the video with this. Here are the three conclusions I've come up with. And apologies, I'll erase all this. These are the three conclusions I'll come up with that I've come up with after looking at these charts and just being an individual or a retail investor who's been putting money towards NVIDIA every month since July of 2023 for 16 months. So, number one, 3 out of 4 times when an earnings call has taken place over the last 16 months, NVIDIA has generated a monthly return between 14.4% and 28.9%. Now, why do I bring that up? The next earnings call is about 3 weeks away for NVIDIA. It's on November 20th. The earnings call is November 20th, okay? And let me tell you something. The news that all these analysts are coming out with, the banks, these wealth management firms, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, Bernstein Wealth Management, they are all saying that the sales for Blackwell, and to quote Jensen Huang, are insane. They're insane. There was initially a projection of around 3 to 3.5 billion in revenue for Blackwell. And when Morgan Stanley met with Nvidia just about a month and a half ago, Nvidia, okay, these aren't even analysts. This is Nvidia. Nvidia told Morgan Stanley, yeah, that 3 to 3.5 billion dollar revenue estimate we had for Blackwell, it's actually a major undershot. We're looking more around 10 billion. That's huge. Okay. So I really believe on this date, all right, when NVIDIA has their earnings call, they are going to announce really big news and positive news. And I'll tell you this, you can go back and look in the graph. NVIDIA, it may not go up 30% in November, but I could easily see it going up another 15 to 20%. 15 to 20% if they announce good news on November 20th for Blackwell and all the other things that they're involved with. So that's why I included this. This is something to really be mindful of because again, the 3 of the last 4 times, okay, they've come out with positive news and the returns have been 14.4% to 28.9%. So something to be mindful of. And I'll go ahead and erase that. Next one. NVIDIA has only generated a negative monthly return 4 times over the last 16 months. 4 times. Okay. And on top of that, look at point three. If you invested into NVIDIA during a down month and you didn't sell, your investment would have generated a positive return within 3 months. Okay. And I already said that back in July. It went down basically 5%. And I said, you know what? I'm putting money towards this immediately because the reason the stock went down wasn't necessarily because of Nvidia. There was a little news about China and restrictions for Nvidia chips, but most of it was a sell-off, a market scare because the stuff going on in the Japanese stock market, along with other things, was political news, Israel and Iran, Israel and Palestine. And it went down 5%. Okay. It wasn't negative sales numbers. It wasn't, you know, anything bad with Nvidia. It was just other things, outside of it that were making the rate of return go down. So again, Nvidia is a perfect buying opportunity right now, guys. And I would definitely say this first bullet point here, okay? Um, the fact that they've generated a positive return over the last three earnings calls, and for those months we've seen a positive return. I definitely believe in November we'll also have another significant return, and it's only going to go up from there. Of course, it'll have its down months, but it's also going to have very positive months. So again, that's my video, guys, and these are some graphs, some analysis I've had just as a retail investor over the last 16 months, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.